What up from Rome? Gonna do the day 3 and 4 recap. Sorry it's a little late, but I had a pretty rough 2 days. Day 3 when we went to the Vatican, I forgot to take my steroid. So by like 2 o'clock local time, I was like done in. I think I got home at like 5 or 6, and I passed out and just slept the whole time. Well, most of the time, I should say. I didn't sleep the whole time, but I did get a good nap in, good sleep in. Yeah, and then I had some issues this morning before day 4. I'm not really gonna go into all of that, but yeah, day 3 was pretty good. Went to the Vatican. I did get a lot of pictures and stuff. I got to kind of go through it and be a little bit more selective because there was a lot of areas in the Vatican that you actually weren't supposed to take pictures, and I'm not 100% sure that I didn't. And before I just start throwing stuff on Facebook while I'm still in Italy, yeah, I'll probably just go through them and just double check. Um, but the Vatican was very cool. Uh, tons of beautiful art. I mean, just everywhere, and like really old too. A lot of it was done by Michelangelo and Raphael. Um, so that was very cool. I don't know if I should say shocked is the right word, but that's definitely probably the best word at how much actual real gold is utilized throughout the pretty much the entirety of the Vatican. I mean, there is so much gold, and it's all real. Like, it's 100% real. It's part of the religion. Gold never tarnishes or fades or anything, so it kind of is used to represent, like, you know Jesus and his forever lasting youthfulness and beauty. And I mean, that's essentially what gold is. I mean, it lasts forever, and it's always beautiful. You get a little muck on it, you clean it off, it's still gold. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. The ceilings, I mean, statues. I mean, there was even engravings in gold. I mean, it's everywhere, to the point where it's a little bit like almost. Actually, I wouldn't say almost. It's too much. It's just everywhere. It's nonstop. But very cool. Still, it was beautiful. The whole building, or all the building, the Sistine Chapel. Seeing Michelangelo's artwork on the ceiling was absolutely gorgeous. It was really nice too that it's one of the few places in Europe, but in Italy especially, that had real actual air conditioning. But it's only because a few years back it got so hot in the Sistine Chapel that part of there's one piece in the ceiling where Michelangelo's painting, the paint like melted and came out, and they had to basically plaster it. So there's a part where one of the priceless works of art that Michelangelo did is just ruined because of the heat. So when you go in there now, there must have been 150 people in there, and it was an ice box. I mean, it was freezing cold, which I love because pretty much everywhere else in Italy it's hot. Even in their cars, they don't really use air conditioning like we use air conditioning in the United States. I get in my car after work, I turn on my air conditioning, I wait 5 minutes, and my car is pretty frigid, and then I just leave it run to keep that temperature. They'll like turn it on for like a minute, cool it down a little bit, then turn it off and leave it off. They just don't use air conditioning out here. It's crazy. Um, Also, I think I found out why I don't see very many fat people in Europe. Like, I am definitely the fattest person in all of Rome. Uh, it's because everything is small. Like the taxis, I have a hard time getting into them because they're small. The trains, they're all meant for like skinny people. The buses, skinny people. The restaurants, the seats you sit in, skinny people. The doors you walk through, skinny people. aisles, skinny people, like everything is meant. Like if you were lived in Europe and you were fat, your life would be super miserable, like super, like it would be horrible. And they don't drive like big cars like we do in the United States, like where you see SUVs everywhere, vans everywhere, even big like full size cars are everywhere. Here they're all like, I swear, if one of these Italians hit me with the car, I would win. The cars are so rinky dink and tiny and made of like they look like they're made of plaster, not even plastic. Like they are tiny. But for real, shout out to Italian drivers though. Like these guys are crazy. On our bus ride today on our way back, we were running late. So the bus driver drove up a set of train tracks. Like I'm not talking about he went over them. No. I mean he drove on the train tracks. Probably like, I don't know, 4 or 5 blocks, maybe 6 blocks. Like not a ton. But yeah, just no F's given. Just drove right up the train tracks, went like 6 blocks, and then made a left to get around all the traffic we were stuck in. Like this guy was crazy good at driving. And like even all the, like they constantly are cutting each other off. Mopeds can basically drive anywhere they want. Like they drive in between cars all the time. I don't even know what the rules are for like mopeds and motorcycles and stuff. It seems like they have no rules. Also, cop cars, like no one cares. Like we've seen like 30 cop cars with their sirens on, and people are just cruising. No one pulls over. No one gets out of the way. They're just, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, good for you. You got your lights on. Just keep on going. Like the United States, you would be getting dragged out of that car real quick. Like you would definitely be getting a ticket, if not being charged with like obstruction of justice if it was something serious. Like, yeah, they don't get out of the way for police here at all. Speaking of police too, I wouldn't say they're everywhere because you don't necessarily see them everywhere, but you see there's got to be like 10 different kinds of cops out here because we see military all over the place, and they stand at like checkpoints. They're all carrying the G36 assault rifle. Like they're everywhere. And then you see your regular police. They're pretty common too. Then you see this like, I don't know, they're almost like Secret Service police. They're like in suits. We see them all over the place, like anywhere where like EU embassies and like EU government buildings and stuff. They're everywhere. Then you have the Vatican police, and if you're anywhere within like blocks of the Vatican, those police are everywhere. And then of course there's the police or the guards that protect the Pope. They're anywhere near the Pope. Then you see these guys, they're almost like, I don't know, like SWAT or something, but they don't have like the heavy tactical gear. They're all like SMG, like small compact SMG type weapons. They got berets, but they're everywhere. I mean, there's like, seriously, like there's 10 different cops out here. You just, everywhere you go, you bump into a different kind of cop. It's kind of weird. But yeah, no one, like everyone ignores them. Like I said, like, they got their lights on. No one gets out of the way. Like, just don't care. What else? Yeah, the Vatican, like I said, was really interesting. I learned quite a bit. Like I didn't actually know a ton about the Vatican. It's not really in my historical like knowledge base. So I super learned a ton at the Vatican. I had a hard time keeping up though. I was so tired because I forgot my steroid that morning. Yeah, that's basically it for the Vatican. Nothing too crazy or exciting happened. But day 4 was pretty interesting today. Today was pretty good. We went to Pompeii, the archaeological site. Sorry, I gotta grab my phone charger. My phone's dying. We went to the archaeological site at Pompeii. It's an old city, Roman city. It was kind of like, I guess it would be kind of fair to call it like the Las Vegas of ancient times. Wasn't really centered around like gambling, but like Sin City, basically, um, it's just lots of corruption, lots of moral degradation, stuff like that. Uh, and the city was buried when the volcano at Mount Vesuvius, which I got a lot of pictures of it from Pompeii. Um, it's right there. It's like super close. When it erupted and it exploded, it basically buried the city in 60. I think she said 68 feet of ash within like a couple hours. Like that's all it took. Like within the first hour, most of its inhabitants had either fled far enough to survive or died in the city, choking on the ash or whatever. Biggest shock for me was how much of the city is still standing. Like, it's actually huge. Like, it would definitely take you, if you wanted to see every bit of it and learn every little thing, it would definitely take you multiple days, at least. If not, maybe close to a week, depending on how detailed you really wanted to get. Yeah, so I learned quite a bit about Pompeii. Again, I mean, I know a ton about the Roman Empire and stuff, but I mean, I know the story of Pompeii, and I know some of the history and some of the facts surrounding what happened, but I really didn't know too much. Like, they had like a lot of really cool, like, the Romans were so smart, like they're crazy intelligent, but the roads in Pompeii, they had what's called cat's eyes in the stone in the roads. What those were basically marble, like white marble, and at night when the moon shined, it lit up the white marble so that you could see the street where you were walking. Another thing is Pompeii didn't really have like a sewage system like a lot of Roman cities did. So what they had instead was basically the roads all sloped kind of downwards down the hill, and they had running water that would run into the street at the top, and then it would run down the hill, right? And then everyone would dump their pee and poo into the street, basically, and the water would flush it down the hill. And then at all the intersections on the road, like if you needed to cross the road, instead of stepping in the dirty water, they had these stepping stones that you would step over the stones, and you would get to the other side, and your feet would be dry. Stuff like that. They had I think it was a bakery, she said, but there was some kind of big building. I think it was a bakery, but the ovens the stone ovens. The ventilation went down under the floor, and it had a double floor, and the heat and the steam from the ovens would heat the floors. So they had heated floors in Pompeii. Not every building, obviously, but like a lot of even the rich people houses too. We saw a mansion had the same kind of double floor layout, but they used they didn't use ovens. They actually had fires that their slaves or whatever, their maids, whatever you want to call them, would light, and the charcoal heat would heat the floors for them. That was pretty cool. They had an early form of GPS. So there's a man genital that like on all the streets, and the genitals point towards the brothel. So the people could always find the brothel no matter what. Like you just could always locate the brothel no matter where you were in the city. That was super crazy to learn actually. And the other crazy thing to learn too was the brothel was probably the most well preserved building in the whole of what we saw. To be fair, we only saw a small part of it, so I mean there could be other buildings that were way more preserved, I guess. But yeah, the brothel, like the rooms were still fully intact. There was artwork on the walls that depicted let's call them Karma Sutra positions. And that's basically like when the customers entered the brothel, that's how they chose what they wanted. It was like a menu. That was really crazy. Um, but yeah, the brothel was so well preserved. Even the rooms were there. Like the stone beds were still there. Like everything was still there. But most of the other buildings, like the roof was gone. It was like maybe 4 walls. The doors were gone. Like stuff like that. Like a lot of it was just all gone. There were a few, like especially in the like main forum area, there were a few like really large buildings that were still pretty well preserved. But again, they weren't like almost fully intact like the brothel was. But yeah, so Pompeii was super interesting. I kind of nerded out and was like walking around. I split from the tour like 25 times again. I drove poor Maya crazy. She was like every like few minutes she was like sending the hunting party to find me because I was just wandering off in my own world. Because I was just so excited to be there and like learn stuff about the Roman Empire, which I'm a huge fan, and I've done a lot of studying on the Roman Empire, so it was really cool for me to be there. Yeah. After that, we took the bus up to Mount Vesuvius, which is the volcano that exploded and buried Pompeii. And again, the bus driver, this guy is a G. The road, you look at this road, you're like, I don't even know if the bus is going to fit up here. But they had buses coming down as well. So we were going up and they had buses coming down, and these buses were like, I mean, like inches apart from each other. And like the road doesn't go like straight up. It zigzags like this up the mountain. And yeah, this guy got us up there no problem. You don't get all the way up to the top, but you get pretty close. Like I think the last little bit you have to hike is like in feet. It's like 1,200 or 1,400 feet. But yeah, he gets you almost all the way up, and you stop at this bar that's at the like almost the top of Mount Vesuvius, and of course they got drinks and food, and they sell all kinds of little souvenirs and stuff like volcanic glass and stuff like that up there. I didn't do the hike. I did take my steroid, but it was super hot, and I was concerned that I might not be able to finish the hike, or at the very least I was concerned that like everyone else would basically have to like basically drag me to the top, and I didn't want to ruin the experience for anyone else. I'm not a huge like outdoor guy. I enjoy the outdoors. Like I can go camping, I can go fishing and all that stuff, and I can enjoy it and have a good time. But it's not something I'm gonna like go out of my way to really plan or do. Whereas there was a lot of people in our group that they love that stuff. You know, mountain hiking and climbing and fishing and all that stuff is super important to them. So I felt it was just better I just chilled at the bar. I basically just drank water and hung out at the bar, charged my phone, and just kind of sat around. And they were only gone like, I don't know, an hour and a half. It honestly didn't take them long to get to the top and come back. There was one guy, he wasn't in our group, but one guy had like a heart attack climbing up the hill. I could tell just getting off the bus, the air was a little bit thinner than what we're used to down at like sea level, basically. It wasn't super bad, like I wasn't struggling to breathe, but I could tell, you know, especially with my lung cancer, I could tell instantly like it was moderately harder for me to breathe. But yeah, someone attempted to do the hike, and the heat and the thin air, they had a heart attack. We saw Flight for Life come in. They had ambulances fly up the mountain and like hooked him up to a defibrillator and stuff. And we don't know what happened to the guy. I hope he's okay. I really do. But yeah, they flew him off the mountain to a local hospital at Naples. Speaking of Naples, holy crud, it's huge. Like, I got a few pictures. I didn't have a window seat, so I didn't get very many. I'll have to steal some from some people who had better views, like the window seats. But as you're going up the mountain, Vesuvius is on one side and Naples is on the other, and the Bay of Naples is down there, and Naples just spans like a huge air. I mean, it is enormous. It's only 1.5, well, a little bit less than 1.5 million people, which is still a lot, but for how big and spread out the city is, I was pretty shocked. It's enormous. You don't see a lot. The one thing I noticed about a lot of Roman cities is the couple cities we've been to, I should say, not a lot of them, but the couple we've been to, Rome and Naples, there's not a lot of like skyscrapers. They have some tall apartment buildings. Most of their people live in apartments, and at least in the big city areas. You know, the outskirts and stuff, obviously, you have a lot of just private homes, but in the cities, it's just a lot of like 3 and 4 story apartments everywhere you look. But the architecture is beautiful. Like, you know, you go to like most American cities, you see huge tall skyscrapers, you know, 40, 50 stories high, and buildings are like basically square or rectangular. There's not really a lot of like fanciness to our architecture. It's pretty utilitarian, I would say. But Rome is different. Like they have tons and tons and tons of really interesting architecture everywhere. Statues. You know, our tour guide on the bus, she said something interesting on our way back. She said that Rome is the only city in Europe, at least, that has like art or statues or architecture or buildings or statues, whatever, to commemorate important events throughout all of history of the city. You know, going all the way back to the Roman Empire, obviously, which, you know, goes back, 2,500 years, give or take. Whereas a lot of cities in Europe, they don't have that. You know, you have London was founded much later, and there's not really a whole lot left from like ancient times. You still have a lot of stuff that's old. You know, there's still plenty of stuff, but they have gaps basically where there's really not anything from, you know, huge time periods. Same with like Germany and France and stuff like that. So you know, she said that, and that was pretty interesting to me, and it's true. You see it everywhere. There's even they have like obelisks with Egyptian hieroglyphs on them from with the stuff they took from the Egyptians and shipped it back home to put up in their city. So yeah, I mean the city is gorgeous. We also drove by the old Roman wall, which was super interesting. I knew it was still standing, a piece of it. I didn't realize how large of a piece was still left. It's quite a bit. It's actually a modest chunk of the wall. I thought it was like something like 1,000 feet or something of it was left, but it's considerably more than that. Like there's a huge chunk of the ancient wall still left, which was super cool to see. Still got, you know, towers on it, and they got little like guard tunnels so guards could, you know, or soldiers could get out behind enemies attacking the walls, and they have iron gates on them and stuff. Yeah, it was super interesting to see that. We didn't really get out and have a chance to really take a lot of pictures. We just drove by it in the bus. I got a few good pictures, but not very many. Yeah, I mean that's basically it. Food's still really good here. All the food we tried. Oh yeah, we tried pizza. Pizza was invented in Naples. Interesting story behind how pizza was invented. So after Italy was finally united into one country, because it used to be after the Roman Empire fell, it kind of degraded into basically a bunch of like individual city-states, kind of like the ancient Greeks were. But you had like Venice and Florence, where they're basically their own like little countries. And Rome, and same with Naples and stuff. But when it finally unified, the first queen of unified Italy visited Naples, and they had this food that was basically meant for like the poor people. It was called pizza, and she wanted to try it. So I forget the name of the guy that the queen asked to make her pizza. Everyone told her, "Oh, that's not for you. That's not for royalty. That's for poor people." Blah blah blah. But she insisted. She wanted to try it. So, and he had some inspiration. Figuring that since Italy was finally united, he made pizza with the three colors of the flag. Tomatoes, red. Then the mozzarella, which is white. And then green, he used bay leaves. And they put bay leaves on top of the pizza. And she was blown away by it. Loved it. And it became one of her, favorite foods or whatever. And that's kind of how pizza is born. And so basically everywhere you go in Italy, the pizza places, the first pizza in the list is called Pizza Margherita, which the first queen's name was Margaret. So all the pizza places, the very, very first pizza in the pizza menu is Pizza Margherita. And it's the original, your dough, your tomatoes, your pizza, or your cheese, and then your bay leaves. And that's all it is. It was interesting. There is some like tomato paste in their pizza. In Naples, there's some tomato paste. Not a whole lot. It's like very little. But in Rome, the way they do pizza, there's no pizza sauce. It's like the dough, and then cheese, and then whatever, salami, or whatever you want on your pizza after that. But there's no pizza sauce. It was kind of weird. But the pizza it's pretty good. It's not bad. Chicago style is still better, but just saying. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm gonna get this video uploaded, and you guys have a good one. Tomorrow we got to take a bus ride. We didn't realize there was another bus, but we take a bus ride all the way down to Sorrento, which is south of Naples, which is where we were today. It's like a 4-hour bus ride. And then we take a cruise up the coast back to Rome, which will be super cool. We're all pretty excited, but we got to get up super early for it. So, yeah. Good night, and see you guys soon.